my course again. My family just took a 10-day trip across the country, driving. I spent a lot of time in this car. It went well, though. It was nice to see other parts of the country, because of course we're still boycotting the airline industry. But a lot of things that I am really glad that we saw, really glad that we experienced firsthand. We were in the Mountain West, so it was a couple days drive there and a couple days drive back, reuniting with old friends and some family. And I'll tell you, one of the most hopeful things that I saw was that we could lay aside whatever differences we had. They didn't really come up. When they did, it wasn't a stalk out, I'm never talking to you again, because that's really awkward to do in person. It's much easier to do on the internet, but it doesn't really happen in person. So there were about 30 of us in a friend group all together for a weekend. 20 kids. I don't know everyone's vaccination status. I don't know how vaccinated any of the kids were, and I don't care. No one asked us directly. If anyone knows, it's because that person volunteered their status. There was no demanding of it on the part of anybody else. Same with the family that I met up with. And one family, it didn't even come up. One group of friends and one family unit at a time, we might be able to move past all of this. But it was really useful to see all of this and to know that we didn't all have the same approach to the last year and a half. If for no other reason than we lived in different regions of the world. Okay, the Mountain West was very different than the East Coast last year. So we had to handle things differently. But it didn't matter. Relationships won out. And that's what I've been hoping would be true all along. It's so much easier to say I'm going to be done with people when you don't see them. When you're thinking about them in some sort of remote sense of, unless they live the way I do, then we just can't continue this relationship. And then you see them in person and all of that goes away. And what matters is you still care about each other. You still want some part in each other's lives. So I am more hopeful that maybe we can work through this regardless of where anybody stands on any given subject. Such as, for instance, this latest thing from American Academy of Pediatrics saying that all kids need to wear masks at school regardless of their vaccination status. Now, really, who is surprised? Not I. It's what they do. They have no other tricks up their sleeve. They have no other solution. Just throw a mask on it and it's going to be okay. At what point do we say, why aren't we promoting overall health instead of this hyper focus on one thing? And I've said that for years. When you hyper focus on the vaccine or on these very specific things, you're leaving out the other things that build you up as an entire person. You are downplaying the nutrition, the exercise, the good sleep, the good relationships, the stress reduction. You downplay those things in favor of saying, all you need is a vaccine and that's your passport back to normal life. Wouldn't it be better to put a little more broad of a stroke and say, let's make healthy people overall? Because that vaccine, if it works, it's for that one pathogen. Healthy living helps you with everything. And no, it won't prevent every single death, but it'll prevent a lot of them. And not just from COVID, but from a lot of things. So at what point do we stop saying, all you have to do is put a mask on these kids and it'll be okay? At what point will the AAP do their job and say, we'll finally do the study about the harm of masking, which they are absolutely denying. They are denying any amount of harm. Not just insignificant, just none. There is no harm to it. There is no downside at all to it. Nothing about social emotional development, nothing about hypoxia, nothing about secondary infections because of a dirty cloth. Just, there's no downside to it at all. They're completely denying it. How long can we go on like this? I don't know. But I have kind of concluded long since that the solution lies in local, face-to-face, personal relationships. And even if you end up choosing different things, which I'm not going to stop you from doing, I just ask the same in return. That's going to be the foundation for moving forward. Because I don't think it's going to be door-to-door salesman. I don't think it's going to be, you won't be able to do the following things, and we need to control you. That was really rich. The newest line, that we need to control those who won't get the vaccine. What is the vaccine except control? The way it's being rolled out, it is a control mechanism. Leave aside what it may or may not do to you medically. Socially, it's being used as a control mechanism. But I was very happy to reunite with friends and find that we still have enough in common, and we still care about each other enough to say, whatever differences, whatever different choices we've made, this relationship still matters. And I hope and pray that everybody has at least one relationship like that. Because I think that is what is the only thing that's going to get us through this. I hope it's a family member. I hope it's a friend. If not, I hope you can find people. Because they're out there and they're looking for new relationships too. Right. But in the meantime, we're on the downhill side of summer. I believe we're in the eye of the hurricane, and it's going to get worse before it gets better. Hang on to those relationships. Because when all of the dust finally settles, how we treated each other is going to be what matters. Have a great week.